Good evening. Seek the wisdom of the ages, but look at the world through the eyes of a child. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates today. News in detail. His Majesty the King issued royal order setting the date of elections and nominations. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has issued Royal Order 26 of 2022 setting the date of the elections and nominations for the membership of the Council of Representatives as follows. Article 1. Voters registered in the voters lists in implementation of the provisions of Decree Law 14 of 2002 regarding the exercise of political rights are invited to come to the polling and counting committee headquarters to elect members of the House of Representatives on Saturday 12/11/2022 from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. and in cases that require re-election, the rerun will take place on Saturday, November 19, 2022 from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Elections will be held in Bahrain embassies, consulates and diplomatic missions abroad on Tuesday, November 8, 2022. And in cases that require rerun, the re-election will be on Tuesday, November 15, 2022. Article 2. The door for nomination for membership of the Council of Representatives opens from Wednesday corresponding to October 5, 2022 until Sunday corresponding to October 9, 2022 and applications for nomination in the various electoral districts are submitted to the relevant committees. Article 3. The order shall be effective from the date of its issuance and shall be published in the official gazette. Queen Elizabeth II died at 96 after 70 years on the throne. Queen Elizabeth II, Bahrain's longest reigning monarch and a rock of stability in a turbulent era for her country and the world, died Thursday after 70 years on the throne. She was 96. The palace announced she died at Balmoral Castle, her summer residence in Scotland, where members of the royal family had rushed to her side after her death. After her health took a turn for the worse, a link to the almost vanished generation that fought World War II. She was the only monarch most Britons have ever known. Her 73-year-old son, Prince Charles, automatically became king and will be known as King Charles III, his office announced. Charles II's wife, Camilla, will be known as the Queen Consort. The impact of her loss will be huge and unpredictable, both for the nation and for the monarchy, an institution she helped stabilize and modernize across decades of enormous social change. British Prime Minister Liz Truss, appointed by the Queen just 48 hours earlier, pronounced the country devastated and called Elizabeth the rock on which modern Britain was built. World leaders extended condolences and paid tribute to the Queen. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa extended his sincere condolences to His Majesty King Charles III following the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, King of the Kingdom of Bahrain, has extended his heartfelt condolences to His Majesty King Charles III, King of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and head of the Commonwealth, members of the royal family and the people of Britain following the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. His Majesty the King paid tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's exemplary reign and immeasurable contribution to the deepening and strengthening of relations between the Kingdom of Bahrain and the United Kingdom. His Majesty mourned Her Majesty's passing and emphasized that the world has lost a great source of inspiration and strength whose wisdom and humanity will be missed by all. As a mark of respect for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has ordered that flags to be lowered to half-mast for 3 days. Upcoming elections a promising democratic moment, said Justice Minister. The upcoming elections for the 6th legislative term constitute a promising democratic moment, light of the development process led by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. With the support of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, said Justice, Islamic Affairs and Endowments Minister, Chairman of the High Elections General Supervision Committee, Nawaf bin Muhammad Al Mawda. The minister made the statement marking the royal order which was issued by His Majesty the King, setting the date of the elections and nominations for the membership of the Council of Representatives. He noted that His Majesty the King's vision and firm belief in popular participation have provided the solid ground for the continuity of progress and success of the democratic paths at a steady pace. He commended the role of municipal councils in the democratic march in the Kingdom of Bahrain, hailing their contributions to national development, noting that the organization of elections under full judicial supervision represents the strongest guarantee of the integrity in light of transparent and impartial procedures. Municipalities Affairs Minister headed Bahrain's delegation to GCC meeting. Minister of Municipalities and Agricultural Affairs, Engineer Wael bin Nasser Al Mubarak, stressed the importance of promoting joint Gulf work to achieve the sustainable development goals within the unified vision of developing municipal work. He pointed out the vital role of the municipal sectors in the GCC countries in achieving comprehensive growth and boosting the achievement of the GCC societies. The Minister of Municipalities and Agricultural Affairs was speaking as he headed the Kingdom's delegation to the 25th meeting of the GCC Municipalities Affairs Ministers, which convened today in Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, after the approval of the recommendations reached at the meeting of the GCC senior municipal officials. He said that the meeting of the GCC Municipalities Affairs Ministers completes the steps towards achieving the sustainable municipal work aimed at optimizing services and boosting the welfare of the GCC national. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure issued Edict 47 of 2022. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa has issued Edict 47 of 2022 regarding the determination of municipal electoral districts, electoral constituencies and their boundaries, and the number of subcommittees to elect members of municipal councils. Health Minister chaired anti-smoking committee meeting. Minister of Health Dr. Jalila bint Al Sayed Javad Hassan stressed keenness to continue drawing plans and strategies aimed at combating smoking and all types of tobacco so as to protect the health and safety of people. She was speaking as she chaired today the meeting of the National Committee to Control Smoking and All Types of Products of Tobacco, which was held in the presence of representatives of ministries and official bodies in the committee after its reformation. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Finance and National Economy held discussions with Kuwaiti counterparts. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani, and the Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, held talks with Kuwait's Foreign Minister, Dr. Ahmed Nasser Al Muhammad Al Sabah, and Minister of Finance and Minister of State for Economic Affairs and Investment, Abdul Wahab Al Rashid. The two sides discussed the strong relations between the two countries that have grown under the keenness of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah. They also reviewed cooperation and stressed the importance of enhancing economic cooperation. They also underlined the importance of activating the Bahraini-Kuwaiti Joint Committee and supporting its efforts to further develop cooperation in various areas of mutual interest. Health Minister chaired anti-smoking committee meeting. Minister of Health Dr. Jalila bint Al Sayed Javad Hassan stressed keenness to continue drawing plans and strategies aimed at combating smoking and all types of tobacco so as to protect the health and safety of people. She was speaking as she chaired today the meeting of the National Committee to Control Smoking and all types of products of tobacco, which was held in the presence of representatives of ministries and official bodies in the committee after its reformation. At the outset of the meeting, the minister welcomed the members of the committee, lauding the efforts of their predecessors in bringing about many achievements, including winning the World Health Organization's award, which was announced during the 75th session of the World Health Assembly, which convened from May 22nd to 28th, 2022 at the Palace of Nations in Geneva. She asserted keenness to continue building on those efforts to attain the desired health goals. Bahrain Embassy Cultural Advisor in USA discussed cultural academic issues with GCC counterparts. Cultural Advisor at the Embassy of the Kingdom of Bahrain in the USA, Badr Sultan Al Jalahma, met at the Bahrain Cultural Attaché building in Washington, D.C. with his counterparts. The cultural attaches at the embassies of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. During the meeting, they discussed a number of cultural and academic issues of common interest, which are related to following up the affairs of the Gulf students in the US and Canadian educational institutions. They reviewed ways to provide support and assistance to those students during their studies. Today's COVID updates.
COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers.
We will be back after a very short break. Welcome.
The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahala. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination.
Bahrain-Saudi cooperation in youth and sports field discussed. Minister of Youth and Sports Affairs Ayman bin Tawfiq Al Mayed discussed with his Saudi counterpart, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki Al Faisal, ways of bolstering cooperation between the two kingdoms in the youth and sports field. This came during a meeting held on the sidelines of the Youth and Sports Affairs Minister's participation in the 5th session of the Islamic Conference of Youth and Sports Ministers, which is held in Jeddah under the theme Youth and Sports Development to Build a Solidarity Nation. US military to open a new testing facility in Saudi Arabia. The US military command responsible for the Middle East and Iran is developing plans to open a new military testing facility in Saudi Arabia. The facility will test new technologies to combat the growing threat from the unmanned drones, and it will develop the test integrated air and missile defense capabilities. Early planning by Central Command, or CENTCOM, includes calling the facility the Red Sands Integrated Experimentation Center, drawing a parallel to the White Sands Missile Range, the US military testing facility for extended range missiles in New Mexico. While the location has not yet been finalized, the official said Saudi Arabia makes the most sense because it has large open spaces owned by the government and the ability to test various methods of electronic warfare like signal jamming and directed energy without interfering with nearby population centers. Saudi Arabia opened shuttle flights bookings to Qatar's FIFA World Cup. Saudi Arabia's national carrier Saudia has announced that it has opened reservations for match day shuttle route flights from the Kingdom of Qatar during the FIFA World Cup 2022. Soccer fans from the kingdom can now reserve their round trips to Doha, with Saudia starting November 20th through the international airports in Riyadh, Jeddah and Dammam, the airline announced on its website. South Korea proposed meeting with the Northern family reunions. South Korea's new government on Thursday proposed a meeting with North Korea to resume reunions of families separated since the 1950-53 Korean War, despite long-strained ties between the rivals over the North's nuclear weapons program. Family reunions are a highly emotional humanitarian issue because they involve those in their 80s and older who are desperate to reunite with their long-lost relatives before they die, Associated Press reported. Australia passed a law for emissions by 2050. Australia's Parliament on Thursday passed government legislation enshrining a pledge to cut carbon emissions by 43% by 2030 and a net zero by 2050 with the support of the Greens Party and Independents. According to Reuters, their law marked a first step on climate action since the Labour Party won power in May, defeating a Conservative government that was scorned as a global laggard on the battle against climate change. But the government will face together fights in passing more environmental bills. WHO launched Drive to Fight Bacterial Meningitis in Africa. The World Health Organization on Thursday said it is launching a $1.5 billion campaign, hopefully including a new vaccine to eliminate outbreaks of bacterial meningitis across Africa by 2030. Meningitis vaccinations for more than 50 million children in Africa have been delayed amid the COVID-19 pandemic, prompting fears of a resurgence of the deadly disease, Associated Press reported. In a race against time, WHO Regional Director for Africa, Matshidiso Moeti, said that a next-generation vaccine against meningitis will be rolled out in 26 African countries most affected by the disease. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.